I am Aliga Lingappa, Assistant Professor in Physics. Now I am discussing about determination of a specific charge of the electron by J.J. Thomson's method. Atomic and Molecular Physics, program BSc, subject Physics, semester 5th semester, University Vijayanagara Sri Krishna Devaraya University Ballari, session 4. Learning objects. Learning objective. Charge of the electron. A specific charge of the electron. Specific charge of other charged particles. Magnetic and electric fields. So these are the learning objective for the study of, that means the determination of specific charge by J.J. Thomson's method. Session outcomes: a specific charge of the electron, difference between experimental value and a theoretical value, specific charge of the proton, the value of V obtained by these methods varies between 2.2 into 10 power of 7 to 3.6 into 10 power of 7 meter per second. A value which is 1 by 10th of the velocity of light, which is very high. The value of E by m is found to be a constant, independent of material of cathode gas in the tube. Prerequisites: the force experienced by the electron in the magnetic field, the force experienced by the electron in the electric field, electrostatic deflection, concept of charge and nature of charge. Now you see the diagram. J.J. Thomson's method for E by m. There is a tube, C cathode, AB two slits, D and E, they are the two plates, the potential difference which can be applied for the beam of electrons. Here Mn, that indicates magnetic field applied perpendicular to the plane. Here SS dash fluorescent screen. P, the spot on the fluorescent screen in the absence of both electric and magnetic fields. Where look here Q and N, so they are the Q and R, they are the two spots on the fluorescent screen in the presence of either electric field or say magnetic field. J.J. Thomson method of determining E by m of the electron. What about the principle of the experiment? The fact that cathode rays are deflected by electric and magnetic fields is made use of in this method. By subjecting a narrow beam of cathode rays to electric and magnetic fields acting at right angles to each other, and measuring the deflection of the pencil caused by two fields E by m can be determined. Then operators. What about the experimental arrangement, which are the elements required for conducting experiment? The operators used by Thomson is shown in the above figure. As we seen earlier, the cathode rays are produced in a highly evacuated discharge tube and shut out normal to the cathode C, are reduced to a narrow pencil, narrow beam by making them to pass through fine slits in the anode A. And the metal plug B, which is electrically connected with A, this pencil are traveling in a straight line with a velocity that is accelerated between C and A, but remains uniform behind A, strikes the fluorescent screen SS dash and produce a small luminous patch at P. On the path of the pencil, electric and magnetic fields are set up as follows. The electric field is produced by maintaining two horizontal plates, D and E, at high difference of potential. This field acts in the plane of the diagram and at right angles to the direction of motion of cathode rays. The cathode ray passing through such a field will be deflected in vertical planes towards that plate which is positively charged. The magnetic field is produced by an electromagnet mm dash with a direction perpendicular to the plane of the diagram and hence at right angles to both to the electrical and direction of motion of the cathode rays, that means the electron beams. Such a field will deflect the cathode rays also in the vertical plane downwards or upwards according to as the field is from front to back or back to front. Thus, the pencil of cathode rays can be subjected to cross electrical and magnetic fields that acts in a direction perpendicular to its own axis. These lines of forces of the two fields are arranged to act over the same region so that cathode rays will be under their influence over the same length of path. What about the theory of the experiment? That means J.J. Thomson method. Assuming that the cathode rays consist of charged particles with a mass, charge and velocity equal to m, e and v respectively. Let us consider the effect due to two fields first acting separately and then simultaneously. Electrostatic deflection. Let the uniform intensity of the electric field between the plates D and E be x, where x is the intensity of the electric field. The upper plate D is positive. Under the influence of this field, the cathode rays, that means a beam of electrons, will be deflected upwards, and the luminous patch on the fluorescent, which is at P, before introduction of the field, moves up to a position Q. This shift PQ of the patch can be estimated as follows. Considering any one particle in the cathode ray, pencil, cathode ray beam, the force exerted on it by the field is XE. E. Hence, EE means X or a capital E. So here intensity of electric field is X. X is that indicates the force experienced by the electron. Hence, the acceleration of the particle in the same direction is XE by M. Because according to Newton's F is equal to ma, A is equal to F by M, XE by M. That gives the acceleration of the particle. That means electron. Since the force and acceleration are always constant and perpendicular initial direction of the particle, the path of the particle will be a parabola. If t be the time of flight of the particle through the field of length L, the deflection x, say small x, of the particle in the upward direction as it emerges from the field. X is equal to half xe by mt square, since t is equal to L by v. So according to by basic definition, velocity is equal to displacement by time. Then time is equal to displacement by velocity, so t is equal to L by v. The electrostatic deflection is equal to of xe by m L by v whole square. So now we see the diagram: positive plate, negative plate, the deflection of electrons beam, that means the cathode rays. Behind the electrostatic field, as there is no other deflecting agency, the particle moves along a straight line tangential to its path at the point of exit from the field, and finally strikes the fluorescent screen at Q. This shift PQ of the luminous patch depends on two factors, that is, the actual deflection caused by the electric field and the distance of the fluorescent screen from the field. Hence, PQ is equal to half K xe by m into L by v whole square. That this is equation number 1. Where K is constant depending on geometry of the operators, which can be evaluated. Then magnetostatic deflection. Let B with uniform magnetic field applied. Let us suppose that field is directed from front to back. The force on cathode ray particle due to such a field can be calculated as follows. We know that the force exerted by a magnetic field B on a current element of length ds and of strength I is BIds. We know that the force experienced by the conductor in the, that means electron in the BQV or BAL, when the direction of motion and direction of the magnetic field, if they are mutually perpendicular to each other. Since I the rate of flow of charge, I is equal to dq by dt by the basic definition, the above force B dq by dt ds is equal to B dq into ds by dt, where the force experienced by the charged particle in the magnetic field B is equal, F is equal to BQV sin theta. Theta is 90 degrees, so that F is equal to BQV. So based on that, B dq ds by dt, where ds by dt that indicates the velocity. In this case, dq stands for charge of one electron E on the particle, and ds by dt for its velocity v. The force exerted on the particle by the magnetic field BeV or BQV in general. This force is constant and always acts right angles to the direction of motion of the particle. The path of the particle will be along the arc of a circle, if r is the radius of the circular path. So in the magnetic field, in the presence of magnetic field, the nature of path followed by the charged particle is a circular path, or say arc of a circle. Then it must experience the centripetal force. We know that the expression of a centripetal force mv square by r, under that equilibrium B is equal to mv square by r. If any charged particle in the magnetic field moves in the curved path or circular path, which must experience the centripetal force, the centripetal force provided by the magnetic force, that means BeV is equal to mv square by r. The deflection y caused by the field can be computed as follows. Since the path of the particle in the field length L is along the arc of a circle of radius applying the law of segments, then L square is equal to y into 2r minus y, which is equal to 2yr minus y square. As the deflection is very small, y square can be neglected, and L square is equal to 2yr, or y is equal to E square by 2r. After emerging from the field, the particle moves along a straight line tangent to its circular path at the point of exit of the field and strikes the fluorescent at point R vertically below P. The shift PR of a luminous patch is given by PR is equal to Ky, where K is constant depending on the geometry of operators. Therefore, PR is equal to K into L square by 2R, but BV is equal to MV square by R, or R is equal to MV by BE. Hence, PR is equal to KL square is equal to KBEL square. Let this so hence PR is equal to K into L square by 2 MV by BE. Then KBEL square by 2 MV. Let this is equation number 2. Simultaneous application of electric field and magnetic fields. If suppose both electric and magnetic fields, if they are applied simultaneously, by applying the two fields at right angles to each other and adjusting their intensities X and B, so that they produce equal and opposite diffraction, and in consequence the luminous patch remains in the position of no field, that is at P. Under the forces due to the two fields and the cathode ray particle just balance each other, so that X is equal to BV or V is equal to X by B. Let this is equation 3. Experimental procedure. Using electric field alone of intensity X, the shift PQ of the luminous patch on the screen is measured. The magnetic field is applied and its intensity is adjusted to a value B to bring back to the spot to its initial position P. This is possible only if the two fields are crossed as explained above. From the equation 1, PQ is equal to half K XE by M L by V whole square is equal to half K X E by M L square by V square. From equation 3, V is equal to X by B. Therefore, PQ is equal to 1 by 2 K X E by M into E square by X by B whole square. Then PQ is equal to half K X E by M B square E square by X square. E is equal to 2PQ X by M K square B square. Let this equation number 4. Thus, this is the equation we have used to determine the charge of an electron. In this relation, PQ is already measured. K, the constant of the operators, can be evaluated X. The intensity of the electric field is obtained by dividing the potential difference between the plates D and E by distance D between them. B is the intensity of the magnetic field, can be determined by the tangent law. B H is equal to B tan theta. Then the length L of the plate D or E is measured, as the value of E by M can be calculated. Then the result of the experiment of J.J. Thomson, the value of E obtained by these methods varies between 2.2 into 10 power of 7 to 3.6 into 10 power of 7 meter per second. A value which is 1 by 10th of the velocity of light, which is very high. The value of E by M is found to be constant, independent of material of cathode gas in the tube. The numerical value of E by M obtained by Thomson in his first experiment was the order of 10 power of 11 coulomb per kg. Later it was found to be 1.7 into 10 power of 11 coulomb per kg. So specific charge by M. Charge by mass, that gives the specific charge of electron. So it's a unit coulomb per kg. Comparing the value of E by M of the electron with that of the hydrogen ion in electrolysis, it is seen that first is about 1840 times large the second. So these are the multiple choice questions about a specific charge of an electron. Which of the following has a positive charge? Proton, neutron, anion, and electron. So proton is the positively charged particle. So basically we know the atom which consists of negatively charged electrons, neutral particles so called neutron, then the positively charged particles, so proton. An electron traveling at 0.980 C has a total energy of so 2.55 mega electron volt. The measurement of E by M was possible because of an instrument made by J.J. Thomson, Rutherford, Edison, then the Bohr. So because of J.J. Thomson, he constructed the experiment for the study of E by M, that means the specific charge of an electron. Then the fourth question, by magnetic field, cathode rays are deflected in circular path, straight path, curved path, or round path. So usually in the magnetic field, the charged particle moves in the circular path. So the charge on the oil droplet is a charge on 1 electron, 2 protons, 2 neutrons, none of the above. So first one is the correct answer, 1 electron. Authors, that means the references for the study of a specific charge of an electron by J.J. Thomson's method. So we have many books, say Modern Physics by B.V.N. Rao, Modern Physics Volume 2 by Basuraj Omkar Publications, Concept of Modern Physics by S.L. Gupta and S. Gupta, Modern Physics by Murugesan, College Physics by Sundarajan. So I think these are the reference books for the study of E by M of an electron. So thank you.